Well, welcome to One Idjit's Thoughts on podcast. This is Paul Mackey. This has been a busy week with station events for work and all other manner of activities. I escorted a mascot to various kindergartens and preschools on Wednesday, and even Iris helped out by being a mascot at 2 events yesterday. There's a day-long celebration at Chester Park tomorrow for the community. Station employees are, of course, expected to help out all day long. I suppose there's a slim chance of getting a second episode out this week, meaning tomorrow, but that would be pretty unlikely, I think, because I haven't even watched anything for that one yet. I won't get this episode out if I'm not careful, too, so I suppose I'll stop yapping about other stuff and get into Whiz Kids Episode 6, Airwave Anarchy, originally aired November 15th, 1983. That day of note, the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus declared independence from the Republic of Cyprus. The establishment of the Republic of Northern Cyprus was rejected by the United Nations 3 days later, and while the island remains separated, the only country to officially recognize it to this day is Turkey. In theaters, the top 5 films at the box office were number 5, All the Right Moves, number 4, Deal of the Century, number 3, Richard Pryor Here and Now, number 2, Never Say Never Again, and up from number 4 the previous week, the number 1 movie was The Big Chill. In music, same as the preceding week, the US number 1 single was All Night Long by Lionel Richie, and in the UK the number 1 remained Uptown Girl by Billy Joel. The brief summary. Honestly, this was going to be a short one this time. Check it out, I summarized the burglary sequence, but then... Here goes. In an extended robbery sequence up front, an armored car is robbed. Meanwhile, from a nearby RV, a man in a smoking jacket, Digby, announces he has broken into the LAPD's dispatch computer. The armored car radios in a report of the robbery, the company calls the police, and a squad car is dispatched by a computer terminal in their car. When the report comes across the screen, the man in the RV simply types in a cancel command, calling it a hoax call. The cops stop driving to the scene, and the crooks drive away, with the RV following. Richie's dad has sent him an ET-18 robot kit, which little sister Cheryl has unpacked all over the living room. Irene tells Richie he has 10 minutes to clean it all up. Farley tries to get a straight answer from Police Captain Huntley, who says there will be an official statement about the issues with the computer system. Then the captain asks the computer tech Leopold what went wrong, and Leopold says it had to have been a disgruntled cop who doesn't like the new system. The captain goes to the lieutenant who trained the officers in question, Lieutenant Quinn. He reams Quinn, tells him to get his men in line. Over Quinn's protestations, they wouldn't intentionally mess up a call. The captain also tells Quinn to tell the press it was an error on the part of a dispatch operator. Quinn tells Farley that, but he won't take that response. Then Quinn goes off, saying they won't admit the computer system made an error, so they're blaming the officers instead. Farley asks if he can quote him, and Quinn says he doesn't care. Richie works on assembling the robot, dispatching each of the gang to work on different parts of the system, but Farley comes by and asks him to look at the new police computer, and Richie can't resist, despite everyone's disappointed looks at him. At a hotel restaurant, Digby throws money around to command respect from the staff. He tells his girl Polly they will someday be able to dine out at any of the great restaurants around the globe. She's more impressed by all the shopping. He then extols the merits of a hotel such as the one they are in, with all the guests carrying portable wealth. The robbery henchmen enter as the couple leaves. They check in at the hotel and request a safety deposit box. The concierge sets that up and leaves the room for their privacy, and they set to work placing plastic explosives on all the other boxes. Outside in the RV, Digby logs into the LAPD system again. It's lunchtime out on the mean streets, and when many patrol cars request lunch, dispatch puts them on a wait list. Digby simply puts them all on lunch at the same time. The guys blow the boxes and begin the looting. And there are no police units to stop the robbery. Meanwhile, Polly celebrates, hugging Digby, but she builds up enough static charge to fry his improvised chip that allows him access to the system. Leopold tells everyone they will be reloading the entire system from the ground up and distributes anti-static booties. Farley sneaks Richie into the police operations center and asks how it all works. Leopold Brasnik is a software legend, says Richie, and Farley asks him to try talking to Brasnik. Richie introduces himself as an apprentice tech. Brassnick is still assuming internal sabotage and says everything functions as designed. Richie suspects an outside hacker and thinks he can hack the system as well, which makes Farley very nervous. Richie needs a specialized chip and goes to the electronics store, coincidentally the same time as Digby. When it looks like Richie has the last one, Digby tries to buy it off him for over double the value. But there is one more for Digby, who races off with it in the RV, which Richie sees departing. Quinn isn't happy with being quoted in Farley's headline story about the dispatch computer. He's been suspended. Farley invites him to see what Richie came up with. Richie pulls the gang off the robot construct so they can work on the police dispatch project. They steal the TV antenna off the house. Richie finishes up the chip work, grounding himself by grabbing Alice's hand. Farley and Quinn arrive. Richie gets in the system and is able to assign a unit to a fictional burglary in progress across the street. Quinn is curious about the computer room info Richie was talking about, but Farley plays that down. They decide to try to use the new robot as an antenna rotator to try to catch the crooks. Digby tells the henchmen to steal a box of medical supplies worth $20 million in Kuwait at the airport. Meanwhile, he sets up a program that will spam the system with DMV license plate searches 5,000 per minute. Leopold in the dispatch center sees that issue right away. With the antenna mounted to the rotating turret of the robot, they go back to the system, and they see the system overloading with DMV queries. They use a map program and locate the site of the transmitter that is putting in the bad requests, near Burbank Airport. Quinn and Farley head out, but after they leave, Richie remembers he wanted to tell them about the mystery man in the RV, so the kids bike off toward the airport too. After Quinn calls the captain and gets a brush off, he recruits some of his off-duty friends and they go after the henchmen. Meanwhile, the kids arrive and Ham tries telling Quinn what's going on. Alice suggests letting out the air in the RV tires to prevent them from leaving. And then Richie breaks the antenna. In the end, the captain is seen at a press conference praising Quinn on the bust, allegedly with the team of computer experts, but no direct reference to the gang. And my favorite line...
We're gonna break into the system ourselves.
Why are we breaking into the system ourselves?
Because if we can, so can someone else.
Huh?
Now with this and a decoder chip, I think we can do it.
Then why do I get the feeling I'm going to jail?
The Who Is query. Digby was played by Guy Stockwell, and I'm not positive if I've seen him in anything else. Most likely I did see the episode of Quantum Leap where he joined his younger brother Dean. Jeffrey Jacquet plays Jeremy in every episode of Whiz Kids. Jeffrey was born in Texas in 1966 and began acting in small roles in the films Return from Witch Mountain and Blood Brothers. His big television break came in 1978 when he was cast on Mork and Mindy as Mork's young friend Eugene. He appeared in TV movie The Lazarus Syndrome and on single episodes of sitcoms Sanford and The Jeffersons. Following Whiz Kids, he appeared in an episode of Our House. And then, following his young acting career, he earned a law degree and has practiced law in California. That week in tech. The Hero 1 ET-18 robot was a real kit produced by the famous Heathkit company for the educational market. Hero stood for Heathkit Educational Robot. The kit started production in 1982 and was not discontinued until 1995. The robot shipped standard with 4K of RAM and ran on a Motorola 8808 chip. As shown on the show, there was a hexadecimal keypad for data entry and control, cassette storage drive, and an optional ARM and speech synthesizer. It had light, sound, and motion sensors as well as a sonar sensor which could sense within a range from 1/4 inch to 8 feet. The Heathkit company sold them assembled for more money, but in kit form the price was $1,500, or $47.50 in today's dollars. Totally 80s. That would have to be the conspicuous consumption on the part of Digby and Polly, at least, though Mr. Adler sending a $1,500 robot kit to Richie would probably qualify too. Digby drives an expensive RV, and all Polly wants to do is shop at the best stores. Artifactoids. The RV in the episode is a Vogue motorhome. Vogue motorhomes were luxury handmade vehicles. The company was founded in California in 1974 by a former Winnebago dealer who thought he could do better. There was a Vogue 2 released by the time this episode was produced, but based on some image comparisons, I'm pretty sure this was from the first model line, produced from 1974 until 1982. The Internet Movie Cars database does not have Whiz Kids as a listing, but I see a familiar RV in Simon & Simon, the sister show to Whiz Kids. The car spotters who commented on that post put it as a likely 1976 model. The Vogue company traded hands a couple of times in the 90s, and the brand was retired by its final owners, the Featherlight Company, in 1999. What worked? I really appreciated that they did a storyline where the tech is not the enemy, and that it didn't have any bugs or operator errors, just a crook who exploited an opportunity to hack the system. I'd imagine real police systems had more safeguards than this TV version, though. What didn't work? Well, I suppose I could nitpick the fact the precise location of a transmitter can't be determined with a single scan point. In order to accurately determine a transmitter's location, at least 2 receivers or readings from 2 locations are needed to triangulate the position. Also, Richie had to collect a sheet of information to hack into the system, but there's nothing in the episode, even an offhand mention of how Digby managed his entry. So next time is Whiz Kids Episode 7, Return of the Big Rocker. Do we get a look at computerized stagecraft state-of-the-art for 1983 this time? Happy hunting! You've been listening to the One Idjit's Thoughts On podcast, produced by Paul Mackey in association with Nimlas Studios. Any short clips of audio from shows is included under fair use for commentary purposes, and copyright for that content remains with its original copyright holders. The theme song is Too Good by Jack Mangan and is used by his generous permission. One Idjit's Thoughts is produced under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 international license. You can find more episodes of this podcast and many other fine podcasts at nimlas.org. You can contact me by emailing idjitcastpodcast@gmail.com or commenting on episodes at nimlas.org. I don't think that robot was cast off surplus from an oil company, do you?